We're here today with the founder and principal designer at Casabella Interiors, Michelle Chagnon-Holbrook. Hey, Michelle.
Hey Joe, how you doing?
So good. How are you? How you
Great.
been?
We're great.
Why don't we start off? Would love to just learn a little bit more about you,
Mhm.
kind of your journey. What led you up to starting Casabella? Can you tell us about some of that?
Yes, sure. And that will parlay nicely into why I, insist on renders for when we do our projects. Casabella, we're 14 years young. The shop, I'm a corporate girl by training. A lot of people don't know that about me, but I was a business girl for a number of years and always loved design, always dabbled in design, did it on the side, created a couple of corporate environments for the jobs that I was in, worked for friends. And my husband and I bought a house on the Cape and I went to decorate it, and there really weren't a lot of beautiful places. So I first opened up the shop just to have a shop, become inspired. People would come in, become inspired. Pretty much within the first month of opening, people started asking if we would come to their houses. And sure, we'll go to your house. Sure, we'll do this. And
Yeah,
several years later, very early on in our career, we were doing full home designs, and then that led into concept to build. So we're part of the design build team, right? I always say to people, you need 4 people to build a house. You need your architect, your builder, your landscape designer, and your interior designer.
sure.
And, bringing an interior designer on early in the process, I feel really helps the process not only go smoother, but there are a few change orders because everybody thinks about things in their own little box. An architect is doing what he or she thinks, a builder's then kind of bringing that to life. And the interior designer, we look at things differently. How are you going to use the space? How many people do you want to fit in this room? How many people do you want around a table? And a lot of times, if we're brought in later, then those things have to change. So Casabella, as you mentioned, we've won a lot of awards, which are great, but what's most important to us are our client awards. I call them people that
Nice.
say to us, my gosh, I'm never going to move again unless you're there, or I'm never going to build a house unless you can do it. And that's what happens. I mean, we have clients that have multiple houses and they use us once, and we do everything from not just the furniture, but down to accessorizing and towels, Q-tips in the Q-tip holder, shampoo in the showers. I mean, really, when our clients come in to their house, they're bringing their food. Sometimes we even supply that, but they're just there to live in it. They have to bring their clothes. I don't
Yeah.
buy underwear for people.
You're not gonna buy
I
their
draw the
wardrobe.
line.
Some of
But
those are big closets. That would add a lot
yes,
to the
yes.
closet. Yeah.
But renders kind of became, I would see a lot of renders from architects is where
Oh,
I
okay.
first started seeing
Okay.
renders, right? But they're
Yeah.
not, they're rough renders, right? So it's sofa, they're more placeholder pieces, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so as the business started getting larger and the business started getting much more high end. I mean, we're very high end. Our clients are very high end.
Right.
Expectations on a scale of 1 to 10 are probably a 15. But one of the things that I started wondering and researching about were interior renders, and then a lot of real
Yeah.
estate companies use them, right? A lot of stagers might use
Yeah.
them.
Oh, yeah.
Very different than how an interior designer would use them in my mind. But then I started looking into that. And what's interesting, Joe, is, a lot of renders are done overseas.
Oh, yeah.
And we started out with that road because that's kind of all that I knew, and very difficult. Not only time, frame and time zones, but even how they would decorate a bookcase, right? Those little
Hmm.
accessories that you all put in for us. How they would draw a curtain or a window treatment or something. So that started having me look more for local people. And, I've been through probably 4 or 5 companies until I found you guys. And there was a big difference. And there's a big difference in render. I always say to people, cheap is expensive. This is one of my sayings in life. If someone's going to
You
tell
did,
you they're going to render a room for you for $200, buyer beware.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and so or also, you know, when you're trying to form a relationship with someone, you know, for me, renders, it has to be a relationship. It's not a one and done. It's not, you guys kind of get like what we do, the details of what we do. So you kind of know when you do a render, you know, and for those people who don't understand what renders really are, you know, a render for us is it literally takes a room of what you're designing as a designer and brings it to life. So it is your actual floors, it is your actual windows, it's your actual wallpaper, scale of window treatments, lamps, accessories. It essentially, for me, brings a room to life. And it's not only for the client's perspective. You know, we use them sometimes for our perspective. And I think
oh,
I've said
really?
this to you before. You
Yeah,
know, we've had you guys do a rendering and you may get a second edits back from us and go, oh my God, almost everything in the room changed.
right,
It's
right.
because we didn't like it, you know? So
And yeah, it's a design help. Yeah,
it is. It's so helpful to not only us as designers, but also the client, because you know, when you render a space, it really gives you the perspective and the client perspective, real life of what that room is. And I think I've said to you before, you know, we actually have shown people after we do the job, when we do our reveal, we'll bring the renders back and say to them, look this was your living room. Look at the render. And then take it away. And here's your living room. Or we'll shut a bedroom door. And we'll say, remember, this was your render. We'll open the bedroom door. And they're like, wow.
there it is.
Yeah.
That's what I signed up
You know,
for. Oh, that's fun. That's
it's,
fun.
it's a tool that I think is underutilized
Yeah,
because people may not either really realize what it can bring. It takes a lot of work on our end, work on your end, obviously, to do it and to do it well. And over the years, as I've said, we've kind of mastered, I think we started out with you guys putting everything in an Excel sheet for what everything is,
right.
and giving you links. Now we use Ivy as a program because we're already using Ivy for our clients. So instead of having to create something twice, it's no more work for us to do it
Right.
this way for you. So in
Right.
my mind, it doesn't give us any more work to do it. What it does do is, though, it does kind of force us to pick things that maybe we wouldn't do down the road, but we're going to do them anyway. For an example, if we're going to render a bedroom, for an example,
Yeah.
and some other designers may not go to the degree that we do, but we want everything to be perfect. So if there's a view on a wall, we want to have that artwork. We want to have the lamps. We want to have the bedding rolled down the way we want it rolled down, and the throw and the exact pillows. Because if you're just going to pick stuff and then you show it to a client and the client loves it, you better make sure what you're picking you can get, you know, and that you can order.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Like, where did that throw go? I wanted that.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And although we probably wouldn't get to sheets and throws and artwork maybe down the road for the client in the project, we have to do it anyway. So we look at it as we're not, the renders do not create any extra work for us. It just forces us to do a little more work upfront, is what I would say, if that makes sense.
That's fascinating. Is that the stuff that you use in your designs? Is this because I know you said you started as you know, with your showroom, with
Yes.
with like your hey, we come
My
in.
store, it's a shop.
Yeah,
You can come in and you can shop. Yes.
so how much of that stuff that you put in designs do you have, or do you source already? You just have it sitting in your shop versus like, oh, I'm going to go out and get this, or I'm going to go out and get that.
You know, it really depends on the project. I mean, certainly if we have things in the shop that work, we have 2 warehouses. I mean, we're a 2,500 square foot showroom shop. We do all of our design out of here, but people every day come in and buy off the floor. They might buy a whole vignette because it's perfect for them. You know,
Sure.
we obviously have artwork and lighting. We say our showroom is meant to inspire. Some things we'll definitely use, but if something isn't right, or, you know, whether that's the decor element isn't right or color isn't right, you know, we don't use it. But we have 3,000 vendors that we shop from in the store. So we have the ability to go out in our arena and shop from endless vendors that we have relationships with, that we've built over the years to do this for these renders and for our projects, because we want to show, when we're showing a render to our client, it is real life. It is the wallpaper, as I mentioned. You know, if people haven't done renders before, you know, what I would say is, and if they're saying, I don't even know kind of where to start, you know, I kind of said in the beginning, good information in is good information out. You know, basically what you guys do is, you know, if I can provide you links to our products, you're building what it is. And that's another difference in render companies. Some people do like items, right? So
Yes.
You had a side table and it was 24 wide by 30 deep. It had a drawer in it and it was kind of this color. Well, we had it in our library, so we've used it. We don't accept that. You know that about us.
Right.
You literally create every piece for us. You know, there's a website. I don't know how you do it, but there's a website. We provide you with the website and the link through Ivy, which is great. You're clicking on that and then you create it however you create it. That's important to us. It may not be important to everyone, but to us, I don't know if you find that with everyone that you do renders with. Is that important, or are they okay with likes?
It is interesting. I mean, no, I think what you pointed out earlier is very important to note, which is like real estate renders, you know, staging, stuff like that. A little bit different, right? Than a lot different
Yes.
than what you guys are doing, right? Because you're walking into these you know, these high style homes, or hopefully it'll become a high style home, right? But the expectation is that it's very high end, right? And so they want bespoke, they want custom, they want something that's unique to them, you know. And you know, if you're just staging a place, then you can use some of those things from the library easily. You can pull those things from the library and it's no problem. But when somebody wants what they want from you guys, yeah, you better build every piece, right? And
well, we're not, I mean, the last thing that our clients want is to see their stuff in someone else's house, right? So we're very mindful of that. And oftentimes we get people and they say, oh my God, I love this room. Can you recreate it? No, we won't. No, we won't. No. I mean, look at, if you love the 4 chairs around an ottoman, we can recreate that for you, but it's not going to be that fabric. It's not, you know, people, it's just kind of not what we do. We want to be innovative. We want to be creative, but our, you know, renders, you know, as I said, you know, showing a client a little square of a fabric and saying, do you like this, Joe, for your window treatments? And you go, oh yeah, that looks good. And then we install it. And then you go, whoa, I had no idea that fabric was going to be that big. Is very different than showing someone a render. And we have so let me kind of tell you what our process is on how we do it.
Please.
So let's say this 10-room house now, these 10 rooms you're going to do for us for this new project.
Yeah.
So what happens is we start out by doing, first thing I'll do is I'll email you and I'll give you the CAD drawings and I'll say, okay, here are the rooms that I need rendered. Here are the CAD drawings. The first thing you guys do is you start to create the rooms, build the rooms, if you will. And I always try to give it to you way far in advance so that we can be ahead of the process with
tremendously helpful, by the way. Yeah.
Good. You know, for us, we can't sit down with the client until you guys are done with the renders. And sometimes, you know, that can be challenging for both of us. I'm like, where are the renders? Where are the renders? Because we're trying to get people in, and it's just, it just takes time. You know, your computers take time to render it. And another reason to go with someone who's a company, because if you're, and I've been there, I chose someone and I didn't know to ask the question, but they only had one computer to render.
Oh
So,
yeah, sure.
you know, it can take what, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours to render a room. And if
Long
you're
time.
waiting on something,
Yeah, on one item.
on
Yeah.
one item,
Yeah.
that's a,
Yeah.
you know, that's tough. So I try to give you guys as much in advance. So I'll start with that. You'll give me a quote. I'll say, give me a quote. I'll approve it. And then we start to do our actual design plan through the house. And for us, as we finish a room, I ping you an email and I say, Joe, master bedroom is done, all set. And then we go on now to our next room. So now that gives you the ability to start. So you just, I give you access to Ivy. I've listed you as a team member, and you guys go into Ivy, you pull the pieces, you start creating. I'm on to my next room already. And then as I'm done with that room, I email you. In the meantime, now we kind of become going back and forth. Usually the first thing you'll do is send me back some view options before you render the room. You know, the camera's in this corner, Michelle. Do you like that view? You might give me 2 or 3 options for a view.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
I approve the view, then you guys will lay out pieces, and there'll be what's called a grayscale or a white scale, right? So it's just making sure we've got the pieces right, they're where they go. That's usually a couple days time after I first tell you go, because SketchUp, I mean, you've already built the room itself, your windows, your walls, your ceilings, all of that. So, you know, that kind of furniture goes in, and then I approve sort of this white version, and then you go in and you add my stuff to it, my fabric, my rug, you know, window treatments, rods, all of that. And that's usually a couple, 2 to 3 days, you know, from there. So this is sort of an ebb and flow. And so, as I mentioned, you know, we can't sit with our client until you guys are done with your renders. And, you know, so we have to plan that out very well, because if we have a client meeting and we know that's May 15th, we have to back in together. We work together on this of when I'm going to have everything. We then, when we meet with our client, we start with, we have all the materials, all the wood samples, we go room at a time, and we start with the SketchUp model, which is just the layout of pieces. You know, we have 2 sofas here, 2 chairs here, here's a fireplace, here's the size of a rug, so they can see layout. And then I have a TV in the shop. We pull up the render onto the TV screen, and then we go, and here's the room, and literally 10 times out of 10 people go, oh my God, that's the room. And it's like, wow. And then we show them that fabric on the screen is this fabric, that wood is this, because again, TVs aren't true to color, computer screens aren't true to color, but now they can touch and feel everything that's in that room.
Oh, that is so cool. I love the emotional reaction, you know, to oh my gosh, that they can see like, oh, that is our room, but it looks completely different than it looks now.
You know, renders for sure. I don't want to use the word sell our design, because that's not how I look at it. How I look at it is renders give our clients the confidence to make decisions, and to make right decisions that they feel really good about. You know, I always say to someone, 2 rules when you come in to meet with us. If you don't like something, tell me why, that we show you.
Yes.
And, you know, don't be shy about telling us that you don't like something, because I don't want someone who's just going to say, yes, yes, yes. This is not our house at the end of the day. It's our clients' houses. So we want them to be interactive with us. But, you know, renders give our clients the confidence they need to make the decision, and be very confident in their decision, and to be very happy with their decisions in what they're doing and what they're choosing, because there's a lot to choose. You know, we could be here 5 hours with a client. You know, we do their whole house in one day. We do not break it up. You are here with us. We will feed you. We will, because everything's connected. You know, it's like, I'm not going to show a client half a house and then we'll be done with the rest in another month and you can come in. Like, everything's connected for us. So, you know, being able to show them these renders. And at the end of the day, you know, we'll give them copies of them and they get excited as the house is being built. You know, you got to remember, they're probably not seeing their house again. These decisions are probably a year and a half, sometimes 2 years, right? So it's like, what did I pick there? Or what did I do? So I don't know. It's such a great thing for, you know, dual purposes. And at the end of the day, I want all of our clients to be over the top happy and satisfied with, you know, all these decisions that they have to make with us for their house.
That's important, right? One of our taglines, or kind of our main tagline, is "We tell your design stories."
Yes.
And so you know, it's important to us to get it right for you, so that, you know, you can get it right in front of your client, you know, and show them. And it's really about setting expectations, right? I mean, that they know, or that they're able to at least get a sense of, oh, this is what I'm going to get, you
And I
know?
think it's a differentiator too. I think a lot of companies don't do them. You know, for me, it's important to me. For other companies, may not be, but for me, it is a differentiator. We use them. And here's the other thing, Joe. It is not just for the client. So we kind of talked about what we do in the beginning, then we use them here. They don't end there. Now we'll go on site for an electrical walkthrough. Guess what we bring with us? We bring our renders. Here's your bathroom. We've got under vanity lighting. We've got 2 hanging pendants. We have a recessed mirror. We've got a lighted niche. Now the electricians get the renders. Now the plumbers get the renders. Here's our plumbing. Here's what so it's, you know, we're involved in all those along the way because we're part of the design team. So, you know, we will get called on site to go through all the plumbing, all the lighting, where the switching is, all of that. But now we bring our renders with us. It helps now the trade people understand what we're doing, where we're doing, and now they keep those renders. So the gift keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it is interesting, right? Because it is I always refer to it as a short shelf life product, because as soon as the thing is built, well, look, the renders are no longer useful, because you can go in and take a picture of the place if you want, or whatever, you know. But it is interesting to hear you describe, hey, look, this isn't just for the client. Like, we use these with the tradespeople. We use these as a design help. We use these, you know, like all along and even to the point where you said, hey, at the end, we hold this in front of their face, and then the reveal, you know, type of the thing. Like, that's pretty cool, you know.
Well,
I mean,
we just had a walkthrough last week with on this residence that you're going to be doing for us, and we did the architect actually ended up doing the renders, and we were walking through with the whole team, and even the homeowner was like, wait a minute, what am I doing here again? This is what we're doing. This is what it looks like. So again, I think that we have to get smarter at how we work. We work very hard. You know, no one's going to work harder than the Casabella team on these projects. There's only so many hours in a day. We also want to be very efficient when we're meeting with the tradesmen, women, tradesmen, right? Because, you know, it's very different being able to leave this with them than saying, all right, well, we're going to have a 48-inch vanity here. We're going to have this here and that there and that, you know, versus them actually being able to hold on to something just to have a reference point. They're not really using it to set heights or anything. It's a reference point for them. When they're coming back now, it's another layer to help them not make mistakes and helps them as well. So wherever we can be helpful, we want to be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, I know from working on stuff in my own house, being able to reference back, you know, handing that to the carpenter and him being able to how am I gonna? Because there are certain things you just know how to build, and you just are putting cabinets in or building things. But you get to a certain points in every project, and it's like, oh, there's problem solving to be done here. How am I gonna make this look right? And if you have a render, you can be like, oh, okay. I remember, we want this to tie in over here, or we want this, you know, I need to build it in a certain way in order for it to look like that at the end, you know. So
and again, it kind of forces you as the designer to be 10 steps ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
Because when we're designing a bathroom, right, it's not, first thing that happens when you build a house is they're going to ask you for two things, valves and electrical. It's first two things that happen. And it's not just picking out the plumbing and being like, here you go, because again, we want to be able to show a homeowner, here's the plumbing, here's the vanity, here's your floor tile, here's your lighting, right? It's all part of that. So again, it kind of forces us to front load a lot of these decisions. We're going to do them anyway, but we're going to just do it. And then bathrooms are all done. We're not chipping away at it and chipping away at it. It's done. So plumbers have what they need when they're ready. Electricians have what they need. Cabinetry people have what they need. Tile person has what they need. So it's all in a bundle.
Love it. That is so fantastic. Let me ask you about the future of design for a second. We look at AI and things all the time, trying to figure out if that's a threat, what's going to happen. What do you see as kind of the future of design? What do you think of AI? Do you guys think about that?
You know what? I don't think about it right now. And the reason why I don't think about it right now is because, with everything in life, things change. I mean, were people really doing renderings 20 years ago? I don't know, probably not as much. I mean, they were maybe in a form, but not to the degree of what they are now. I think everything in moderation. And you know what I worry about? All I want to worry about is what we're doing here, that we're doing it very well, that we are cutting edge. I'm not into fads, trends, all of that. This came out, that came out. Mm-hmm. What's interesting with AI is, I don't know what its full capabilities are graphically, and I know a little now of we're all getting to learn more and more what it means, but yeah. I'm not really thinking about that right now. I think for us, all I want to do is consistently, every job we get off of, we say, what did we do well? What can we improve upon? The minute that you think that you're the best and you know it all and nothing has to change and, will be your demise. That's kind of my philosophy in life. Those who know me always say I'm always kind of thinking about the next thing. But in terms of the next thing, what I mean here is, we put a lot of love in our life into our projects, and we always want to do the best. And that means surround yourself with the best. And we've learned that. And successful businesses, you don't have everyone like what the owner is. And successful businesses, they surround themselves with really good people. People are your extensions, right? Your contractors, people who are working with you in different areas. And I consider you guys part of our team. And it's no different than the builder with their carpenters and their electricians and their plumbers, right? They're all part of their team, and they're their people. You're our people. And I always want to have you guys use the best software. There's big differences in software, even with renders, huge differences from what you see. So again, there's another differentiation, I think, with you all, in that, the software of what you use is very realistic. Some renders are not realistic. So I think going forward for us, maybe my next step is what I talked to you about, is doing those sort of walkthroughs instead of it being a still render. You can complicate things if you think too much about them, right? So really simplistically, what we want to always do is, help our clients achieve what their vision is, work with the best in class in every aspect of what we do. So at the end of the day, when the job is done and we hand them their keys, they're just over the moon happy with what they have and the process along the way. Sometimes you hear people say, oh, they had a really crappy process with something and but now we have this and we're good, or we have our home. I don't want that. I want that to be all along the way that it's good, because there's a lot of work and time that goes into this on everyone's part. But if you surround yourself with the best in all your trades, you're going to be successful.
That's amazing. I love that. I feel like that's a larger business learning in general, right? Is, hey, the end result, do the ends justify the means? It can't
Right,
only be the end result that is really positive. It has to be
correct.
like their entire process. And then they become advocates for you. I know you get a lot of word of mouth. People tell
Yeah,
their friends, like, oh my gosh, you have to use Casabella.
yeah.
They are the absolute best. And you guys get obviously written up in many magazines and awards and everything. And
Isn't that the same for all our businesses? When you think of
yeah,
business, and whether you're a realtor, whether you're another little shop, I mean, the best advertisement is your client that's going to
yeah,
say, oh my gosh, they're great. And that's the same with working your relationships that you have with everybody who helps you. I always say, Casabella is not me, Casabella is all of us, and everything adds to the process of what we do and how well we do it. And you guys are a big part of that for us. And, you also have to have confidence in that, what you're building is right. Right. I mean, oh my gosh, is that rug size wrong? Is that
yeah.
sofa size right? I mean, all those things that I don't take for granted. I don't check a lot of that with you guys, but we've been working together for a while. And that comes with having a relationship with, our relationships with our clients, our relationships with all of our people that work with us are very important to us. And as I said, over time, you'll realize, oh, Michelle would never want that on a bookcase. Oh, she would never use that on you know what I mean? Like it becomes
Yeah,
second nature, I guess.
yeah. Yeah, it just keeps getting better and better the more
Yeah.
projects you do because of that familiarity and that understanding.
Well, I hope this has been helpful to you. And
So helpful. No, it's been just an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and always a pleasure to work with you. And we'll chat with you again real soon.